discussion. I'm happy to serve again if you also wish.
We're all happy to.
I wish.
Yes, we
You
wish.
do an excellent job.
Yep.
All right, well then I will call a vote on that. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Sounds good. Vice Chair, without Bill sitting here, who acted in the past year, is there anyone else who's interested in that role in his absence? I mean,
He
otherwise,
did such a good job.
otherwise we can stick him with it and he can't even object.
I like that. I make a motion
think
to
technically
nominate
it's-
Bill as vice chair.
That one's appointed,
In
I
a
think.
sense, yeah.
But yeah, I'm happy. We'll keep Bill as vice chair.
Unless he comes back and objects next time.
He can always resign as vice chair, and then we'll have to fill it. All right, so that takes us to minutes.
So second to that?
Oh, a
I
second.
don't think we need a
Do we-
vote on vice chair.
Yeah.
Isn't it appointed?
We're going to say aye? Or
Aye.
aye.
We can vote just to get a thing.
Stay-
Yeah.
keep
All,
it.
all in favor?
Aye.
No opposition.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve the March 13th non-public meeting minutes.
A second?
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
And I'll make another motion to approve the March 13th regular meeting minutes.
A second?
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so announcements, just the normal stuff. The select board will meet on the following dates at 5 PM, Monday, April 10th and 24th. The select board will hold a public hearing on April 24th, beginning at 5:15 to provide an update on the status of the downtown drainage project. So that's an important one if you're interested, especially downtown businesses and those folks. Hopefully we'll have a full house for that one. All meetings will be held upstairs in the town hall and held by Zoom. Zoom information can be found on the town's website at plymouth-nh.org. Any citizens wishing to be listed on the select board's agenda should notify town hall before noon the Thursday before the scheduled meeting. I don't have any specific comments for tonight, but we should plan maybe next meeting to go over the slate for the year. You know, we've had that document historically.
We have that on here today.
Oh, we have it tonight.
Okay.
I missed that that was on.
It's
Oh,
at
even
the
better.
end.
Okay, perfect. Cover that tonight, which will take us to town manager report.
So I'll just start off by saying with a sad and heavy heart, a past employee of the Town of Plymouth Police Department passed away on March 23rd, Sergeant Barry Tanner. Had a medical incident and was transferred to the hospital and subsequently passed away on March 23rd. Barry served with the Town of Plymouth from 1993 through 2005, starting as a special officer, patrolman, and then detective sergeant. Barry left in 2005 to continue his career with the Haverhill and then Holderness Police Department as a lieutenant, and retired from there in 2017, and had been working part-time as of before his brief illness with the Bristol Police Department as a detective sergeant. So on Thursday, they're having a celebration of life, and it will be held at Owl's Nest in Campden. But there will be a procession that starts in Bristol and travels through the town of Bristol to pay respect to Barry and his service that he had there. Will come into Plymouth, up over Highland Street, down onto the main street, at which time the Plymouth ladder truck and the Bristol ladder truck will be placed with a flag draping across the main street. And the procession will proceed through there and then continue over to 93 up north to the Owl's Nest. Alex has been in touch with the school to make sure we're not impeding on school traffic. And it was a test run of the time that it would take place to get from Bristol through Plymouth. We should know tomorrow morning, but just wanted you aware of what was taking place on Thursday. I will be walking through the businesses tomorrow to let them know. Fortunately enough, Main Street Dental has been very gracious and has allowed us to pull into off of the Main Street, so it's not going to take up any parking spots on that side of the Main Street. And then we'll cordon off 3 spots over on the pay for parking. And that's where the 2 ladder trucks will be placed, so that we're not taking up any of the free parking on the Main Street. And I will take a walk along the Main Street and just stop in and advise businesses what is going to be taking place Tuesday afternoon between 2 and 3 o'clock. But just wanted to pass it on to the board. Barry,
Thursday afternoon, right?
Thursday, yep.
Thursday.
Okay.
Barry was a good friend of mine and will be sorely missed by not only myself, obviously, but the law enforcement community, and sending prayers to his wife Paula, his daughter Mackenzie, and son Brock, in respect to Barry. So I just wanted to pass that on to start. Ted,
you.
did you want to give the campus community council meeting during your report, or do you want?
I figured I would.
Okay, then I'm going to skip over that. Plymouth Fire Rescue, shortly after town meeting ended on Wednesday, March 15th, responded to a second alarm building fire at 38 Pleasant Street, which 7 occupants were displaced. Currently, the fire is under investigation by Plymouth Fire Rescue in consultation with the New Hampshire Fire Marshal's Office. Chief Morrison and Deputy Chief Pierce did send out a press release on that, but kudos to them. They had a really good stop with the first engine in. Captain Tobine knocked down that fire single-handedly until the other units arrived. So it was a good stop, although it was a very hot fire due to the construction of the building, but still under investigation at this time. Red Cross did assist with the occupants of that residence. Pease Public Library, I met with Pease Public Library trustees on Thursday, March 16th, to discuss the hiring of the new librarian. I asked, and they agreed to have me part of the interview committee. The job posting closes on April 1st. As of this afternoon, there's 3 applicants, and we will interview the first applicant on April 4th. Town Hall sewer issues. I've worked with Belmore Pipe Relining to secure a date for the work to be completed. It's a 3-day repair. We will be closed day 2 of the repair, which is April 19th. The construction will take place in preparation of the line on April 18th. Town office will be closed, and they will shoot the line on the 19th and will reopen on the 20th, of which they will finalize the project. Recycling center construction. The construction of the back wall of the recycling center will commence on April 3rd. The contractor is CCI, with subcontractors doing a portion of the work, and completion is scheduled for the first week in May. Highway Department, the pit on Highland Street. I've toured that facility over the past couple of weeks, and there is a number of plows and surplus equipment that's in the pit, currently not in use and out of service. I've asked Joe to put together a list of what's available in the pit that we can put out to bid. Fortunately enough, one of the employees, Alex Graziel, had an interest in the old dump truck that had been sitting there for 5 years that hasn't been run, a 1998 International dump truck with about 85,000 miles on it. He gave us an offer of $1,000 for it to take it and try to repair it. The frame is cracked. There's all sorts of problems with it. So before I made an agreement with Alex, I looked at what the cost was for scrap metal, and it comes in about $120 a ton. That truck is between 7 and 8 tons, which would have given us about $960 in scrap. So we sold it to him for $1,000. So that vehicle will be off the property within, I think, 45 days we've given him to get it off the property, get the decals off the side of the truck, and to be removed from town property. So one thing gone out of there, but more to come. The Plymouth Police Downtown Parking 30-minute free zone enforcement. I know last meeting we had a little bit of discussion with regards to the free parking, and I've had a couple of conversations with Chief Hutchins, and advised that the parking enforcement person is now taking pictures of vehicles parked in the zone to increase enforcement. Steve from the Highway Department, I did confirm with him, Mary Ann had mentioned last meeting that they will be repainting to let everybody know it's free 30-minute parking. So that will be being done, and I did see parking enforcement out there today taking some pictures of vehicles that had been there longer than 30 minutes. Public notice, town-owned real estate for sale and bid package. I will pass the only bid that we received on to Zach, and if you would like to open that.
This hasn't been opened?
Sealed bid.
It's just weirdly sealed.
Yeah, it got sliced open, but nobody opened it.
Oh, I see.
Where's that property located?
That is right next to the lodge, between the lodge and the police department.
Oh, yeah.
Considering we only have one bid, are we just reading this publicly? Since real estate's protected, but. So we got a response here from Alex Ray, and it's for the full assessed value of the property, so 27,500, and comes with a deposit for 10%. Looks pretty straightforward. It looks like, it's signed with the attachment of the original listing. Yeah.
All right. I'll make a motion that we accept the bid from Alex
Send this back.
Ray for the full assessed value of 27, what was it?
27,500.
27,500 for the property that is mentioned in the bid.
Second.
Any discussion about that? I'll take a public comment.
I'm just curious, how does this usually work? So you don't, like, put it on the real estate market?
So in this case, we did not.
Yeah.
There's a few different options. So the board has various ways that we're allowed to dispose of property that the town owns. In this particular case, this is a very strange piece of property. It has immediate elevation that comes right off of Route 3. The ability to build anything there would require a lot of blasting and other issues. This particular piece of land, the prior owner, prior to Alex purchasing the lodge, the prior owner had, I don't know if they'd had an agreement with the town, not one that we could find, but they'd sort of encroached on it a bit. So there's, even if you look at like the tax map or a satellite view, you can see quite a few, historically, for very, very many years, a lot of cars kind of parked along the kind of back property edge of this piece of property. So we discussed, this piece of property is not something anyone's ever going to build on. We were interested maybe in owning it originally because it does abut the police station property, but again, even from the police side, it goes up pretty steep right off our border there. It's kind of like a big piece of ledge that's just elevated.
What you're talking about.
We did also consider the piece of property behind it that's currently for sale, and we thought, is there an option for the town there at some point to own that property? And through that discussion, we were like, no. So we put it out to bid with the restriction that the only people we really wanted to sell it to were abutters. So either the lodge or the piece of property behind, because any other use there was going to be problematic for lots of reasons. So we put a lot of restriction on it so that we could get fair market price for it in terms of the assessed value, solve a problem that the town currently has in terms of a border, and just clear up an issue.
So it was an assessed value, not an appraised value.
It was assessed, not appraised, yes. Well, those are good questions.
Good timber on it.
The new mic? Oh, no, the piece of land you're talking about. Yeah.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
Neil? It's got really good timber on it.
I
I'm
think
just
it might have oak
Say it again?
trees.
The problem is, we couldn't get an appraiser to go up and appraise the property, so we settled with the assessed value, and currently, there's roughly $31,000 out on that property in back taxes.
Just really, I'm not really questioning, it's more like, oh, it's curious.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The, what's the size of that piece of property? Is it under an acre?
Yeah.
And getting that timber harvested would be very difficult because of the,
Because the
Well-
only way to get it out would actually be through Alex's road.
the slopes there are very, very difficult.
Yeah, it's a little less sloped on, just in that like back corner. That's the only area that's kind of, you could.
Blasting is expensive.
Blasting is very expensive.
That would be, if you wanted to make it usable, really, that would be the way. You'd have to kind of take that whole ledge down. You could always do drilling and, it's a lot of work.
It was much less than an acre.
Much, is it quarter?
Much less, yeah, about a quarter of an acre.
Yeah. But now it's back on the tax rolls.
So, continuing on,
Hold on,
Wait,
I need a vote.
I'm sorry.
We didn't vote?
Oh, no,
We had a
did.
motion, we went to
Oh, we're in
discussion.
Discussion.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None.
Plymouth State University update. I met with Marlon and Jess Dutal on Monday, March 20th. Marlon advised he'll be leaving Plymouth State University to become the Vice President of Enrollment at Point Park University in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I'll be working with Jess Dutal on the cluster project and with her on monthly meetings. I do have some names that were provided to me from the planning board and the zoning board with regards to the cluster project, and they would like to start moving forward on that. So the names that I have currently are Mary Ann, Bill Bolton, myself, Joseph Perez, Mike Ahern from the planning board, Patty Biederman, Frank Miller, John Christ from the planning board, Malik Hammond from the zoning board, and Plymouth State University staff. So I don't know if there's any other interest, but it was presented to the zoning board, it was presented to the planning board, and I've talked to businesses on the Main Street, and Patty Biederman was one that showed some interest. So I don't know if you want me to pass these names along to Jess Dutil to get the first meeting scheduled, or if there's other people that want to join along the way, that can happen as well.
It sounds like a good group to me.
Who'll actually run the meetings?
What's that?
Who'll run the meetings, facilitate the meetings?
Plymouth State University staff, the professors that are assigned to the project. And I think, and I'm hopeful that John Christ will represent kind of both sides of the coin, that he takes an interest of it from the Plymouth State University perspective, but also from the town, and really looking at the master plan and digging deeper into that to come up with something specific, maybe for the village commercial. So he's got some ideas and thoughts, but I think until the committee gets together and start that first meeting, and get some facilitation, we'll better know what the direction will be. All right, I will report back to Jess on that. Other information on that is the LSSA agreement, which we can talk about a little later. The other news is Officer Joe Guerrero, who is a part-time officer, has resigned his position with the University Police. I bring that to you because he did hold a part-time Plymouth police officer appointment, which has been dismissed.
What does that, do we know what that leaves them in terms of officer count?
They have 4 full-time officers, and my understanding is 2 part-time officers.
Oh, so they've actually staffed up a bit.
They've increased by 1 officer since, I think, 2 months now. Town elections and town meeting Town elections took place on March 14th, with town meeting following March 15th at 7 PM at the Plymouth Elementary School. There was a total of 416 voters at the polls on the 14th. I'm happy to report that Zach and Mary Ann were reelected to the Select Board. I thought town meeting went very well with approximately 175 people in attendance. And I wanted to thank all the election workers because I thought they did a really nice job working through the polls and town meeting night.
Yeah, I mean, Josie, Bob supervises the checklist, I think all of them, they do such a good job.
Nicely done.
It's good to take this moment and
Yes.
recognize that kind of publicly.
Couldn't agree more. I thought it ran very smoothly. It was my first time checking in voters on the polling pads, and what a very easy process to do. Once you scan that barcode,
It's
very nicely done.
It's very, very nice, and it's such a stark contrast when you're in the water sewer district and you check in on the poll pad, and then you go to the water sewer and you wait for them to shuffle through 100 pages to find your name.
Yeah. I mean, I think we all were worried about how many voters we were going to get. I think when I stopped at 11, we had 74 or 75 voters that had checked in and voted, but that increased over the course of the afternoon.
I have I heard overwhelmingly positive comments about town meeting. I mean, some people came up to me and told me that it was the best run one they'd ever seen. So I just want to pass that along to everybody who participated, and you and your team and Scott and everybody here that contributed to that being an effective meeting.
Like I said in my opening remarks, it's a team approach. And not any one person does it all, but in preparation, in the meetings we went through, the work sessions we went through, the public hearings of trying to get the information out and simplifying the process for people to understand with the document that you put together, Zach, made it very simplified for somebody to take a look and understand where the increases were coming from. And I think that makes a difference. And meeting with the department heads and saying, you need to be prepared, you need to create your justifications, because there's going to be questions. And get out there and talk to people and interact with people, I think, makes a big difference. So it's truly a team effort, and I thought it went extremely well.
I'd like to say that Bob Clay does not discourage people from asking questions. He's very fair.
Bob does a very nice job.
Yep. Agreed.
Highland Street project, the request for qualifications of engineers that will be selected for the design portion of Highland Street project was developed, reviewed by Plymouth Village Water and Sewer, and approved by New Hampshire DOT, Malin Austin, which we discussed previously. The RFQ was sent out to state pre-qualified listing engineers. The responses were due back on 11 a.m. Friday, March 3rd. We've received 2 responses to the RFQ, and we'll be holding interviews from those responding engineers next Thursday, April 5th. Homeland Security, FEMA meeting December 22nd, 25th, storm declaration. As you know, we had submitted our information, and as of Thursday, March 16th, Governor Chris Sununu announced that President Joe Biden granted his request for a major disaster declaration in response to the storm that severely damaged communities across New Hampshire from December 22nd through the 25th, including Belknap, Carroll, Coos, and Grafton counties, are included in the declaration. The declaration allows communities in Belknap, Carroll, Coos, and Grafton counties to move forward with seeking federal funding assistance. I'll be attending a webinar tomorrow afternoon to see what the next steps are, ensuring that we do get some financial assistance from the federal government on the damages that we occurred in Plymouth. Planning Department and Housing Opportunity Program. Community meeting will be held on April 6th at Plymouth Elementary School in the cafeteria. This will provide an opportunity to learn the housing survey process, share input with regards to experiences in the community, concerns and preferences of housing in Plymouth and input on the Plymouth zoning ordinance.
What time
What's
is
the
that?
time?
Oh,
What's that?
What's the time?
6 o'clock.
Thank you.
And again, on the town website, under projects, there is a tab for the Housing Opportunity Program with the updated information from the consultant, as well as Joseph has posted some information on there as well. Downtown Drainage Project update. A team of us met on Tuesday, March 21st at 10 a.m. here at the Town Hall. Now that the town has approval for the bond at the meeting on Wednesday, not Tuesday, we discussed the timeline and next steps for the project leading to award the contract. Josh from HEB attended. Josh is the lead engineer on the project, as well as Brian Granisi from N. Granisi and Sons General Contractors. Some of the things in discussion with a rough timeline for the project. Again, approval of the bond on March 15th. We had our kickoff meeting on March 21st. Tonight, Ann will present to you some financing options for the bond. We will then have a pre-construction meeting on April 20th, and the public hearing on the construction update April 24th. There's several pieces that still need to be ironed out. I have been in communications with Plymouth Village Water and Sewer. Don Jutton and I will meet every Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. And our plan moving into this, once construction starts, is that we'll always on that Wednesday take a 2-week look back to see what went well, what didn't go so well, and what corrections we can make. And we'll also look forward 1 week into construction. So hopefully, those meetings on Wednesday mornings, after those meetings, we will make a valiant effort to communicate to the businesses that are being affected. It would appear through initial discussions that construction will start on the far south end with the retention pond, work its way up South Main Street, onto Warren Street, and then Russell Street, and then continue up Main Street after. The dates of that, I'm not sure yet. We will know a timeline as of April 20th when we have the pre-construction meeting. I've been in touch with John Radigan and preparing him for the contracts will be coming in front of him to make sure he has time set aside so we can move this quickly. Construction will start sometime of the week, May 1st to May 8th. Don't know specifically yet. Probably some people saw Granisi construction in town today. They were looking at the project that will be the north end project that Plymouth Village Water and Sewer is doing from Court Street here at the Common, working north, Green Street, Old North Main Street, and Route 3 going north as well. So that construction is going to start sooner than what the South Main Street construction is going to start, but same contractor will be doing both projects. But I will definitely be keeping folks in the loop of the information that I'm receiving as we move forward.
do we know when we'll start to see any disruption kind of in the North Main Street area?
And talking with Don Jutton last Friday, and this could have changed since last Friday, it's sometime mid-April that we could see something. I do have another meeting with him on Wednesday, so maybe they have some finalized dates that construction will be starting. And that concludes my report until we go into non-public at the end of the meeting.
Perfect. Thank you, Scott. All right, we have an appointment.
I pre-signed it,
That Marianne already signed.
because I knew it was
You were on top
inevitable.
of it.
I
You were on top of it.
felt it,
I like the level of confidence.
yes.
So anyway, for appointment for me as alternate LRPC commissioner, the other two, Bill and Joseph.
Chris.
See that?
John. John Christ.
John, it is. Yeah, sorry, it's John.
All right, I'll make a motion to appoint Zach as the alternate LRPC commissioner.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 And next we have Mark Sturgeon, who writes, Dear Plymouth Select Board, I'm writing to express my interest in continuing to serve on the Plymouth Planning Board. Over the past 3 years on the Planning Board, I've enjoyed helping Plymouth move forward, have done my best to support what is best for Plymouth. I continue to see enormous potential for increasing the beauty and pedestrian-friendly functionality of our town center while maintaining the small-town feel that many residents adore. My goal since joining the board has been to bring the perspective of my peers and my neighbors to the board level. Serving as a member of the planning board continues to be an honor, and I look forward to working with town officials, other board members, and to serving the community. Sincerely, Mark Sturgeon.
I'll make a motion to reappoint Mark Sturgeon as a planning board member.
A second.
Any discussion? Mark's been fantastic on the planning board, so I think it's good to get him reappointed. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? And next up, we've got Jason Ninos, who writes, to Select Board members, with this letter, I request your approval to serve on the Plymouth Energy Commission. I want to join the PEC because I want to contribute to helping Plymouth reduce its energy impact. I came to Plymouth to work for Plymouth State University as an academic technology coordinator. While I no longer work in that capacity, I still work for PSU as a teaching lecturer. Currently, I work at Moses Weitzman Group as an instructional designer. In addition, I am an active member of the community and feel this is a perfect role for me in my interest in continuing in that vein. Thank you for considering my request. Jason Ninos.
I'll make a motion to appoint Jason Ninos to the Plymouth Energy Commission.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And last but not least, we have Lisa Donner. Dear Office of the Select Board, this letter is to request renewal of my appointment to serve on the Plymouth Conservation Commission as a full member. The Conservation Commission has discussed this and recommends my reappointment. Sincerely, Lisa Donner.
I move that we reappoint Lisa Donner to the Conservation Commission.
A second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? All right. New business. Hannah Bear. $1.8 million bond rate consideration update for South Main Street drainage project.
Okay, so as this indicates, this is just for the $1.8 million bond and has nothing to do with the solar array bond. Okay, so they're being treated separately. So we've been running the rates, requesting local towns to provide, local banks, to provide us rates. The rates came in from anywhere from 4.75 to 5.24%. At one point when we originally set this up, we looked at the 10-year loan. It was recommended that maybe we go out 20 years. So we have a couple of options here. The best rates right now are coming in from Woodsville Guarantee Savings Bank, whether it be a 10 or 20-year loan payment. So there's a couple ideas. So the 20-year loan interest is at 5%. Total cost over the loan would be $2.745739 million. We do have the funding already set up in our budget that's coming up for that first payment. The next one is a 10-year loan with the interest rate of 4.75. That project at the end of it would be 2.270672. You have the opportunity of saving about $500,000 if you will keep the payment consistent as to what we budgeted for the current coming year. by going with a 10-year loan.
What's
yeah.
the annual payment on the 20?
The 20-year loan, the
90,000.
principal is 90,000. The payment starts for the first year, 180,246.
182.46. And then is that,
That's for 20 years.
and it's effectively
It goes
it's that
down.
same, oh, it actually goes down over,
Yes, because we asked the banks to give us a consistent principal amount over the life of the loan. So basically, we're paying less in interest, is what we pushed for, and Woodsville came in with that.
okay. So that payment, does it go down a lot over the 20 years, or?
It starts at 180. The final payment, which is in 43, if you go a 20-year loan, is 94.5, 94,500. So
And that, is that, what's the 10-year payment? Something, in just some
Nope, I can tell you
random
what
middle
that
one.
is.
Just kind of curious what the overall curve looks like.
sorry. Let's see, and 32, it's about 144, 147.
But we already have 180 projected and.
We have 250,000 projected in the budget right now when we went to town meeting. Okay? So the 10-year, it starts at 265, 734. And again, that is a $500,000 savings on interest if the board was to choose to go that way. That's $1 on your tax rate.
Does that have a similarly
It
declining?
does. Yep.
So year one, we're paying a little more than what we have.
Correct. And my proposal is to find the additional 15,700, because that's the additional amount, and encumber it out of this year to make that payment whole next year. And then the following year, we'll be budgeting for that. We haven't budgeted yet anyways, but
How long before it gets down under the 250?
26. Gets down to the 248.
So only 3 years.
yeah, 2 years. 265 is the first year, 256 is the next one, and 248.
Okay.
So it drops quick.
Yeah.
But it's up to the board, because you spoke of potentially a 20-year. I wanted to give you that option, but I also wanted to give you, some options of, yeah, it's bad, but there's another way to save a little bit of the expense over time.
I'm a big fan of saving $500,000 over the long term versus spending what maybe $35,000 or $40,000 in the short term.
Right.
Right. Yes. I mean, if we were talking about $300,000, I don't know how we'd make it work. But at this price point, I think we save the 10 years, and
Yep.
we get out of we save a big chunk of money.
Big money.
Right.
And I think that was the recommendation of Scott as well, to look at the 10-year, so. So if that is the way that the board would like to go, of course, we're rushing, because this is the 1.8 million, we need to get this money. We need to get everything through, we need to start construction on May 8th, and it has to be, our documents have to be approved by EDA. They have to see, it can't be just, yep, we're gonna do it. They want to see the paperwork executed, so
Is that going to give us enough time, or is it?
we're working on
Barely.
it. We're working really hard on it, so. What I would ask is that the board, whichever one of these that you choose, that you respectfully consider giving Town Manager Scott Whedon the authority to sign all documents necessary to execute this bond. I could probably call you guys and have you do it, but it's just easier, he's here.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
So,
Yeah, okay,
make a motion?
yep.
I'll make a motion that we go with the 10-year option that at a fixed rate of 4.75% to be paid over 10 years, and give Town Manager Scott Whedon authority to sign any documentation necessary to move this forward.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
You,
Any opposed? None. Good work on that.
Yes, excellent.
well, the banks were very helpful. They, for the most part, you know, they could do what they could do.
Yeah, I mean, we've been through this period where we're very used to interest being shockingly low. 4.75% is still a good interest rate. It's just not a good interest rate in our minds of the past 5 years.
Right.
But really,
And
4.75 is
there's
it's
no
good.
limitations on this. If we still have an application in with the municipal bond bank. If they come in and say to us, hey, I can do this for 2, we're bringing it back to the board. You know, anything, and there's no limitations, so keep that in mind. We don't have to have an account there.
No prepayment.
Yeah, no prepayment, no
penalties,
penalties, no, I mean, they just want to work with us, and we appreciate that.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
So we'll move on that. And then the next item is the $686,000 bond for the solar array. Last week, with Grace's help and Scott's assistance as well, we were able to get the application into the Community Development Block Grant. So that was just Friday. I don't have any more updates at this time. But the rates that we saw at the local banks are the same rates for the 1.8 or the 686. We're not seeing anything better locally. But the Community Development Block Grant hopefully will come in at that rate that they had originally proposed, which is 3%. That's kind of on hold right now until they get back to us.
Do we have any expectations on when we'll hear back?
I've never applied through a grant for them, so I don't know.
Okay.
But they were very responsive to any questions we had, and, you know, they knew it was coming,
Good.
so.
Assuming we get that through, what sort of timeline are we looking at on, Grace, I look to you, you may know, yeah. What's the timeline look like after we get approved for the,
Damn, define
Funny.
you. Maybe you didn't hear me. That's okay. I thought it was funny, but so we're working on the contract with Barrington Power. It's gone through a couple revisions. Scott was really kind enough to get it to the town attorney last Friday, or whenever that was, and then the town attorney turned it over really quickly. We're just waiting for Jack at Barrington Power to make some final changes. Once that's in place, and if and when the loan comes through, we should probably do a timeline at that point.
When those in the revision of the contract, I really want them to put a start and finish date in there.
Yeah.
So even if we have to
Saw that
amend
note.
that after, at least we have something in the contract that outlines
Right. They did,
start and completion.
right, they had come up with, a while ago, a proposed payment schedule and deliverables, but we would probably have to put dates on those. Is that fair to say, Scott? Okay. And thanks
in
to
your conversations with them, is that, do you have any I have no context for how long it takes to install a solar array. Is that the sort of thing that they knock it out in weeks, in months, in seasons? Like,
a couple months, once we get everything in place. I mean, it's a erector set. It's not like they're not going to be topsoiling, by the way, Scott. They're going to be building right on top of that field.
grass as it is?
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the best thing. And they're recommending we do wildflower seed on the bottom, like spread it,
And keep the grass
pollinators and
down.
stuff like that to sort of increase.
I think part of the project that may take the most time is working with New Hampshire Electric Co-op to get the interconnecting from a phase 1 to a phase 3 out there. I know Grace has been in touch with New Hampshire Electric Co-op and starting the process, but until we have a contract in place, I really am hesitant to do any work until that contract is finalized.
Right. I didn't really mention that because we need to get that contract in place first, as Scott
Gotcha. So big next steps are lock down the financing, lock down the contract.
Then the interconnect,
then work with the power company to get the interconnect.
correct, but we've already started that,
Yeah.
at least started that conversation with them.
They're aware that it's coming anyway, yes. Okay. Good.
I mean, my guess is the contract will be ready to go by Wednesday, because the changes that we presented back to them on the second revision were very, very minor. So,
And if I don't hear from Jack in the morning on Wednesday, I have him on my list to call, so. Thank you. And,
Thank you.
Honestly, thank Ann and Scott and the board really for a phenomenal amount of support. We really appreciate it.
you're welcome.
Looking forward to getting the project going. Well, anything else that you need, Ann, on that?
No. No, I'm good.
We have a letter from Melissa about protocol. Actually, is it from Joan?
It's from Joan.
Joan, and it carbon copied Melissa and Lisa. Hello, Zach. I've got a question about protocol for the chairperson of the Conservation Commission. The current chair, Lisa Donor, will be stepping down as soon as one of us is willing to replace her. Melissa and I would like to take over Lisa's role as co-chairs, if that is feasible. There's a lot going on, and we would like two sets of eyes on emails and correspondence, as well as sharing responsibilities. Have there been co-chairs for the commission in the past? I believe a final decision on this would be up to the select board. I look forward to hearing your feedback. Thank you, Joan Turley. Does anybody know what the?
Do you want it?
No, go ahead.
Okay, so I looked up, it's the same as the Board of Selectmen. They select their chairs, their vice chairs, there's nothing wrong with them having co-chairs.
Okay, so
If that's what works for them.
co-chair is a viable thing for them to do.
It is, but it's really up to that board to
It's up to the-
select
not for
those
us,
members,
right.
not
Not
for
for
the
us. It's
select board.
for
Yeah.
us maybe to help them to understand the rules and
Yes.
how things work, but
So, yeah.
it's them to decide. Grace?
Just really quickly, I think because they're a commission, do they have bylaws? I think they have to change that in their bylaws, if I'm not mistaken, based on what we talked with the municipal.
I don't know if they have bylaws, I've never seen them.
I have never seen the bylaws.
I just went by what the RSA indicated.
Yeah, got it. That's something that they were told us, the New Hampshire Municipal Association, but
Yeah, I would
our
say.
commission
then-
as well.
Then the advice from the board is check your bylaws. Nothing in the RSA restricts you. If you can't fix it in your bylaws for some reason, they could just select one of them as chair, the other as vice chair, and share the responsibilities anyway.
The Conservation Commission at the last meeting, it was the consensus of the group that we have co-chairs.
Yep.
There was
And I
no
think that's where this,
opposition.
I think that's where this email came from. They didn't know if they could do that.
Right.
Yeah. So it sounds like we don't see any problem with it unless there's a problem in the bylaws.
Why wouldn't they do vice chair and chair?
It was their decision to have co-chairs. That's all I can say.
Somebody probably needed just a little bit more convincing.
Yeah, that's right.
I think they wanted to
This much
level out the load somewhat.
I mean, the chair technically has no more authority than the rest of the committee anyway, so, I don't know. Chair, vice chair seems like a cleaner thing to do, but
We don't care.
we do not.
That's what the
No,
commission wants to do.
We care that they follow their bylaws and
We'll let them,
state
we'll let 'em know
laws, and
that.
they're good on the laws, and as long as they're good on their bylaws, I don't,
If they do have
The
bylaws,
objection.
we'll ask Scott for a copy of them.
all right. Committee assignments. Would you look at this? Village water and sewer to start. That has been you, Mary Ann. Want to stay on
I
that?
don't, yeah, it's fine by me.
Anybody?
I told Bill you guys have appointed him to the worst committees because he didn't let anybody know he wasn't going to be here.
Maybe we should work backwards on
Yeah.
what are
No,
the
I'm
worst
sorry.
committees.
We'll leave the
Yeah.
gaps and figure out which
Yeah.
ones those. Oh, gods. So you're comfortable staying on Village Water and Sewer? Did somebody else really excited about learning about water and sewer. I mean, it's an important year, so,
Yep.
but no, I don't see
Ed?
any.
No, I'm
I'm good.
good.
Mary
Have to
Ann.
have a hard hat.
Ooh, I like that.
Planning board.
I've been serving on the planning board. Does anybody else want it?
When's it meet?
Thursday nights.
Thursdays,
At
6:30?
6:30? Yeah, 6:30. And it is usually longer than the select board meeting.
Like
Yeah,
9:30.
maybe.
You're it. If it was an hour,
With this bill.
It's really a balancing act, I'm
Yeah.
telling you.
my Thursdays in the fall get busy. That's
I would like to stay alternate just so that I can be on the capital improvement committee,
Sure.
because that's technically a subcommittee of the planning board. If everyone's comfortable with that. Just want to see that go into year 2 and survive. Campus Community Council.
I'm happy to keep it. Unless somebody wants to wrestle away.
I think you've done a nice job
Doesn't
coordinating it.
meet that
Bill
much
as well?
anyway.
Yeah, that's what we did. Did
two.
Bill actually do anything in the past year? No, I mean, I don't mean that in a critical way. I
You
think
need two.
You
I think
do
you
the pirate
carried-
party,
Yes,
don't
you do.
all of it, right? You need to.
Most of it, yeah.
I don't know, do you need two?
Yeah, I don't think we need to.
Let's just put Ted then. Certainly, like, I showed up to the most recent meeting and hung out, so anyone is
He asks
welcome
questions too.
to attend. I pushed a little. PES.
When are those?
That's we go to the.
One
the
of
board
them's
meetings.
Tuesday and one of them's Wednesday.
One of them's Tuesday and one of them's Monday, I think. And
Five
last year we
sessions.
swapped off.
Yeah.
I'm happy to keep it at the current arrangement because it works, but
Yeah. Of all of the committees, and I think the school is very interesting.
Ted does
It's one of the worst because we don't actually have a seat at the table. You're just in the audience, you know. But it's important. There's a lot that goes on at the school. So you want to keep one of them?
I can keep both as long as I can swap somebody in the fall when it doesn't work for me.
Okay. So let's put Ted on both of those, and I'll be your alternate. So anytime, yeah, for both. So anytime you can't be there,
Okay.
just poke me. I end up getting dragged to roughly a third of them anyway.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Thanks, Hal.
And you get dragged to, I don't know, half the high school ones, it seems like.
Well, if they just play by the rules, play nice.
Yeah, I have a.
Yeah.
I'm not going to bring it up right now. Conservation Commission.
Has been Neil.
Yeah, I've been doing it.
And you like it.
I like it. Yeah.
Okay.
Nobody else wants it, right?
I wouldn't be opposed to being your alternate
Okay.
or taking your seat.
Did
You would like to do it?
Did Bill serve as your alternate?
I didn't have an
Oh, you
alternate.
didn't have an alternate.
Ted can have it if he wants it.
When do they meet, Neil, again?
It's third Tuesday of the month
When?
at 7 p.m.
Okay, 7 p.m. is doable.
Is that good?
I can do that.
Okay.
So that's Ted then.
We're putting Ted in as the primary on that, or as
Yep.
the alternate?
Yeah, I think a little rotation is good.
Do they usually meet here, or do they meet at the library?
Meet right here.
Ooh, that's even better.
There you go.
You know exactly where you're going. LRPC is already me.
So Zach,
as
you're doing the
alt.
conservation, the capital improvement?
Is that Bill?
Yes, be on capital
Bill and
improvement,
Ted?
please.
LRPC, is that Bill and Ted?
It's actually Bill
Bill
and
and Zach.
John C., but me as the alternate. And that's, the reason we made that decision was because they meet almost always at the exact same time as the select board meets. So our ability to attend is,
At the meeting tonight.
not,
So
right, they're
you'll be-
meeting right now.
You'll be the alternate?
I'm going to be the alternate, but over the course of the previous year, I attended 2 of their meetings in a full year. That was not not as productive as it could have been. So hopefully John is going to be a much better rep for that. Parks and Rec. Ted, that's been you. I'd be interested if no one else is, but also I don't.
They're low key. They usually have food.
See, now you're giving away the reasons to actually want me.
They're a good group. I don't mind keeping them, but if somebody else wants to do that,
So we put Ted down,
okay.
I guess.
Ted or
That's
me,
fine.
whatever.
Yeah,
That's,
I'm fine.
you want to keep it?
Yeah, sure. I love working with Lisa.
You gotta be
She on?
careful, Zach. You're gonna have a lot on your plate.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Parking is the one of the few on this list that I'd be like, no.
No, you don't do parking. You do parking?
No,
So was that gonna be included in the cluster project? Did I hear you say that, or did I misunderstand that?
You're gonna have
It's
a
gonna
hard
be
hat.
part of the discussion of it.
So do we wrap that into? Or
I
keep
would-
them
I would-
separate?
I would keep it separate for now.
Okay.
And see where the meeting goes.
Okay, all right, well, I mean, I'll maintain it. That's, anyone else wish to?
So who's parking committee?
Marion?
Mary Ann?
If nobody else demands it.
We don't bring food. Although we had a 15-minute meeting today, so that's good.
Right?
Bring food, you might get better attendance.
15 minutes, good efficiency.
Bring ice cream.
Energy Commission.
How's Bill doing?
Terrible.
Terrible?
No, he does great.
He's great.
I think it's Bill.
I think he
Yeah,
wants to do
let's
it.
leave Bill right on that. I'm guessing he wants to see the solar array go through and
Yeah, I think he's
be
good.
there for that. Advisory Budget Committee. Ted, this has been you for many years.
Yeah, I think it's time for a rotation there.
Time to step off.
Give it to some other.
Zach, it goes really well.
I mean, it goes well with CIP.
improvement.
Yeah,
That's what I
mean,
was thinking.
I can take that.
I mean, if you need an
There's
alternate,
no
I can be an
objections.
alternate. They don't meet formally like a lot of the other ones.
Economic Development Team. This one has been one of those that's been.
But it's back on.
It's not working.
That's the cluster
Is
project.
it doing anything?
Yeah, that's where
I mean,
we're gonna be working
effectively,
with the cluster project for
the
now.
cluster project is going to be the re-energization of this economic development.
That's how I see it, and then go from,
Come out of the cluster project and just
Am I on
carry
this, but
through
we
with
haven't done
that.
anything? or-
Nope.
right, so we're gonna, as Zach was just saying, so Scott's arranged to have a cluster project with the university. And we'll start off,
So who's gonna be on this?
I've already named that. You just said it, Scott. Who's on this? Marianne?
yep,
Who else? Someone else. There's two names.
Bill,
Is it Bill?
and
Yep.
there you go.
Perfect. So Marianne and Bill.
and Scott as well. so.
PSU negotiations, team members. We had previously said Bill and Ted. I'm nervous for you.
Just the
I see Ted's on five.
conflict, or,
My fear is that if the negotiations go really well for us, that's not great for your day job.
Well, technically, they don't affect it, but
yeah, but,
I
If
understand
negotiations go really poorly, then
somebody could.
you will look like the person to blame, and it feels like a really awkward position to put you in. If you feel super confident that that's the particular swamp that you want to be in,
Well, now that you're
I
selling
still
it like
support you. But I'm giving you this second opportunity to be like, maybe I have plenty of other things.
yeah, you make a good argument. To voluntold somebody else.
Happy for that to be any one of the three of us.
is that a once-a-year
It's
monthly
probably
conversation?
it's probably going to be a 8 weeks of fairly significant back and forth, and then nothing. where we try to renegotiate a deal.
If you could hold off until after the non-public, we have some discussions for the board to consider. If you could hold on, right now it's Bill and Ted. If
Okay,
you hold on
Okay,
until
for
the
now, we'll
end
just leave
of
it
the
there.
non-public, and then we'll come back to that.
okay.
you
So I'm
don't
putting Bill
mind.
in parenthetical Ted.
Yep.
Ted,
Conservation, yeah, conservation is Ted.
Conservation. Oh, yeah, sorry. We're going backwards in time.
Yeah, we're
Yes.
just double checking. Chamber of Commerce, Marion, that seems
don't-
to be working for you.
yeah, the one.
And then Perlac, I think,
I'm on that.
yeah, Neil, you're definitely on that, and Bill has been on that, and my guess is he's interested in staying. Leave his
Well, I'll
name.
do it anyway.
Yeah, well,
He's
Well,
not
Bill's not
chair
here, so
anymore.
we'll just tell him.
Yeah, I voted it in.
it's right here in pen.
Yep.
So you got Bill and me,
Yes,
yeah. Because
let it be written.
we had to be appointed by the governor and council.
Fancy.
So there's nobody on negotiations team.
All right,
Bill,
yeah.
Bill for sure,
Oh, Bill?
And
and then probably Ted, but maybe not. We'll see.
So we'll just leave that, okay. Boy, Ted
think
is a
it's
busy
too-
guy.
yeah,
I don't think
I'm,
you
I'm not
should.
happy
don't
unless I'm
care.
busy.
You like being busy, right?
Any concerns? Any concerns?
None at all.
Is this what you meant when I brought up the thing earlier?
Yes, is that
This
what you're
isn't
talking
what I was
about?
talking about, but that's okay.
I'm sorry.
I was talking about the list of our
Projects.
and priorities for the year. It used to be called the plate, I think.
Yes. I will see if I can find last year's, and we will go through that.
Yeah, it would be
The
nice
next-
for us to.
Actually, it'll be at the meeting in April 27th.
Fourth,
If you can,
Yeah, April 27th.
is that okay?
April 24th.
April 24th.
I'm sorry. We'll bring it up on the meeting of April 24th.
I'll
Scott
be
will be
gone
back.
the 10th through the
Oh, okay.
14th or
I'm going on the
15th.
10th, too.
Make sure I'm here the 24th. I will not be here on the 24th.
We could move it out to the first meeting in May, just so that everybody's here.
So everybody's here.
I'm gonna be gone from April 5th to I'll be back on the 20th.
So we'll
So you-
move it
are
to
you gonna be
the
here
first
on the
meeting in
5th?
May.
You're
Is that
not,
right?
so you're not gonna be in the next,
I'll be gone on the 5th. I'm gonna leave at like 3 o'clock in the morning.
so it looks like on the 10th, the next meeting, you're gonna be down, Neil
I
and me.
might be on Zoom. I'll try.
Yeah, I'll be here on the 10th. I just won't be here.
I'll
the
check
24th.
with Bill.
Just to be aware that if we have any other cancellations,
I have my phone with me.
Just gotta make sure we get to 3.
I'll be driving back from Manchester probably. My plane doesn't get
So
in
we
until
can
like
try to
5.
prepare a light
On that
agenda
day.
for that night.
We'll just cancel the meeting if we have to. But we'll know in advance.
Sounds good. So that's committee assignments. And let's bring it all the way down. Well, talked about committees. Now it's time for committee reports. Mary Ann,
Water
you're
and
first up.
sewer canceled, rescheduled for Wednesday or Thursday this week, right? Wednesday this week.
Planning board.
Planning board, excuse me, planning board met March 9th. Judy Barrett, from the Barrett Planning Group, is going to be our housing study facilitator. And we discussed affordable homes, multifamily housing, outreach to the public for planning, periodic surveys, master plan, cash sales of real estate at higher prices, failing roads, outreach, how to reach people, local papers and all, and different methods. And there's going to be a meeting at the elementary school on April 6th for the public. John Christ was nominated to the LRPC. We're in the process of scheduling a joint planning and ZBA meeting in May. And we also want to include the Conservation Commission separately. I don't think we could handle all three at once. There was another meeting March 16th, Thursday at Town Hall to discuss minor changes in wording. And of course, we had town meeting. That's my report.
Where all zoning passes, all zoning changes passed, which is
Oh, yeah,
amazing.
everything passed. We're very happy.
Right. CCC.
Well, we met here on the 22nd at 5:15. We had what I would consider a really good turnout. Scott counted 18, which I think for any of the campus community council meetings we've had in the past, this is far in excess of what we've had before. And the nice thing is we also got a much more diverse cross-section of the community this time than in previous times. I think largely contributing factors to that is that we came out with an agenda ahead of time. People knew what was going to be talked about. It was clear that there was things on there for a lot of different constituencies, so I will call that a success. There were updates provided by PSU staff, specifically Jess Dutile, Tracy Claybaugh, and John Scheinman. Their conversations largely covered Spring Fling, Senior Week, and commencement, at least to begin with. Concerns were brought out about the loudness that is typically corresponding to Spring Fling. The considerations of it being held in front of Mary Lyon, how long it went till, I think, 1 a.m. There's no easy answer, ideally, to a loud event in a community that is obviously able to hear it at quite a distance. I know that I have heard it in the past at my house. I think just did about as good a job as anybody could in addressing those concerns. It's going to be loud. We're letting you know when it is, and it's a one-time thing. And they talked a lot about how they try to contain this event to the campus. Everything is fenced in. So that they did have a nice handout that they gave to us that covered Spring Fling, Senior Week. It'd be nice maybe to get some kind of publication where this is more visible to the average member of the community. Maybe we could scan a copy it and put it someplace.
I bet they'd even send us a
PDF.
instead of scanning it.
Yeah.
On the website.
Yeah.
Just make general awareness. They also had a more voluminous handout about all of the things that they have going on campus in terms of student life. So it was multi-page, covers a lot of details. I'm not going to talk about that here.
If I can.
Oh, yeah, by all
One of the
means.
most important pieces is on that Spring Fling flyer. It's their engagement platform.
Yes.
So I've been onto the engagement platform, and I think that's probably something we want to publicize on our website, because once you go on, you can type in an event, and all the information comes up, regardless if it's at Silver Hall, if it's Spring Fling, if it's orientation, whatever it may be. It really is for the community to go in and see what activities are taking place on campus, so we can get that up on the website. But I thought it was a nice platform that they've implemented.
Thanks for remembering that. They did talk a little bit about their fall 2023 enrollment update, where they don't have any hard numbers right now. They did mention, John mentioned that their deposits are up, and I don't remember exactly what the numbers were. Of course, that's a little bit vaporware until you kind of see what actually comes out of it, but it's good to hear that enrollment is looking up, at least in terms of deposits. Tracy talked about some campus building plans, specifically renovations for Hyde Hall. For those who are familiar with it, it is, I would call it a 60s style building. And, you know, even though over the years it's gotten a few facelifts, it is still a 60s style vintage building. So I know there's a lot of work in there. I don't know specifics. But they know they're going to be doing it in phases because they can't do it all. They can't take the entire building offline, from what I understand, for an entire year to get it all done. So they're going to be doing as much as they can in a given summer. They are also working to do some major renovations on 6 of the apartments. I'm assuming that when they say 6 apartments, they mean
6
those
apartment buildings. 6
Yeah.
buildings. That's how I interpreted it too.
So they're going to be doing a lot of work on those as well. I think those buildings are close to 50 years old, and I know they're problematic. I know the new phase of that apartment complex went in 1990. And I know that the previous one was built somewhere in the 70s. I don't know exactly where, but
We used to call the new and the old, but it's all old now.
yeah, it's all pretty old now. But you know, we won't say old too loud because I was a
I lived there, and they seemed very new to me.
when they built the new old ones. So
I worked on the site work.
so not to date myself too much. They did specifically mention in the summer events that the New Hampshire Music Festival is essentially dissolved. It's not coming here anymore. They mentioned also that they're trying to reinvigorate it with something smaller, but that's probably never going to be hosted here again. And then we concluded the Plymouth State section by talking about the mentioned second annual community town hall meeting that Marlin hosted for the first time last year. Without Marlin being present, they stated that we should reach out to Pat Barr, which I'll take care of during the summer. And then there were town updates, which I did not have detailed notes on, but they were really covering some of the ordinances, you know, outside parties and gatherings, campfire permits. There was a lot of discussion from the landlords about most of them simply would never allow a campfire on their properties, period. So there was a lot of willingness for the landlords to say to the fire departments, like, hey, if you find that there is some, hey, give us a call. We'll tamp that out quickly. Noise ordinance procedure and policy, and then a really good summary of the downtown drainage project with timelines by Scott. And that pretty much covered the whole thing. It took about an hour, and I said I think it was
Oh, it was good.
good.
All right, well, any questions for Ted? On to school.
I don't think any of them met
They haven't met since.
since last time.
Conservation Commission.
Conservation Commission met on March 21. Lisa Dona opened the meeting. She listed the amount of funds that they have. The land purchase fund is $13,260. The general fund is $13,495.83. The annual maintenance fund is $6,500. The Walter Newton Project Fund is negative $219, and the Conservation Fund is $7.14. The annual approved fund is $6,086.24. And Lisa decided to give up the gavel for personal and professional commitments. The commission voted to have Joan Turley and Melissa Eulery as co-chair. They also voted to have Mike Mosley serve as an alternate member, and that was unanimous. And there was a discussion of recent planning board applications. There's one on Thompson Farm Road out near Loon Lake, one on Texas Hill Road, just past where Cummings Hill Road comes in, and one from Tenny Mountains regarding a ski lodge development. And there was discussion of Walter Newton trails and maintenance. They had a load of lumber stolen that they were going to use to build walkways. It happened really fast. It was delivered before they could get to it. Somebody grabbed it. So that took a chunk of money. They had reports from regarding L-chip conservation, land and water recreation, which involves bike trails, and then they got onto the natural resource inventory project. It's time for a new one. I think they have something like $15,000 available to help fund that. They need to hire a consultant. They are evaluating the current natural resource inventory, which is actually outdated. And they're looking for proposals for areas that need to be included in the natural resource inventory. And that's going to be a core document for the Conservation Commission to work on. We're going to try and do as much as we can ourselves to try to keep the costs down from the consultant. They have a very strong board.
Great. Capital Improvement Committee, probably still another couple months before they'll start back up again. I would say same story for Advisory Budget Committee.
Yep.
I have no news on LRPC, other than what Scott said, they're meeting now. Parks and Rec Commission, Ted.
They did meet. Unfortunately, I was a little bit rushed that day, so I don't really have much to report back.
Okay. Parking.
So we met this morning. We finally have an electrician. Hopefully can help this.
That's
help
good
Green
news.
Street. Yeah, Ryan Frost. So we met with him today. Chief Steve from Highway. Scott was there. Had a few questions. Kind of kept it quick and short as we could. He can certainly do the project. We've asked for a quote as soon as I had a few questions. How high pole? Where should the lights actually be hung? A couple others. What kind of lights? So I sent a quick email over to Peter That's Grace's friend that's been helping and doing the testing for us. He was able to answer all the questions. The only one that I was not worried about so much, but the lights. He got them from Amazon. He sent me a link. He was not concerned, but he said he wasn't sure if they were made for commercial use. I went out and it says they're used for residential or commercial. So I just asked Ryan if that was the case. So waiting for an answer back. The one thing I didn't remember was, the conversation about who would actually do the installation of the poles. And I didn't realize Steve or Highway could actually do the whole installation. So we're gonna, look at a quote first from Ryan and take it from there. And, does it make sense to continue with Ryan? Is it something we want the town to do? So either way, he's gonna give us a full quote and we can go from there. We were hoping for April 1st. That won't happen. The biggest driver of that, although we'll continue moving, is the detail meeting about the water and sewer, the South Main Street project. Will they need to store vehicles in that area? So until there's a detailed project, we won't know about that. Was it the 24th, Scott? Meeting?
24th is a public hearing, the 20th is
The
approved
20th,
construction.
thank you.
Yep.
So we'll know after that, right?
Okay.
That's it.
Okay, Perlac.
We haven't had a meeting yet. I think it's this week, Thursday.
Thursday. Economic development, that's,
Regaining life.
we just got all the updates on that. Neither Bill nor Grace are here, so we'll skip Energy Commission. Chamber of Commerce.
I had to miss the last meeting because of the housing survey.
Might be
So
all night.
no updates.
Okay, two. All right, any other business from the board? I had one thing I wanted to mention earlier, and then I forgot. While hanging around talking to people on election day, still a big concern from people about knowing what's going on in town and what's happening, despite the fact that we have these meetings that they could come to. We have the website. We've got Dan doing his This Week in Plymouth recaps, which I think are fantastic. But there's a gap. And I wonder, actually, I got thinking, I wonder if a newsletter, monthly even, could be a really helpful thing.
I do my message, which has all current updates in it.
Yeah,
So that's pretty much a newsletter.
So if we put a sign up for a newsletter on the website and we just used one of those newsletter services to email it to people, we might get people who don't participate on Facebook, don't remember to go to our website, to get a push message into their inbox that could increase some of the
I
engagement.
mean, we could push out the weekly or the bi-weekly report. We can push out the monthly message.
Yeah,
I like
could even-
Scott's bi-weekly report is really good.
it's really good, yeah. And we could throw the links to Dan's recaps that are on YouTube in there. I mean, I think we're producing all the content. If we just did the work to add a newsletter, sign up, and package it, I'm happy to help with getting that set up. I deal with a lot of newsletters with my day job. So if that's something I can be helpful with, I'm also happy to step out of the way and let you all figure it out. But if that's a thing I think it's a good idea. I don't know if the board agrees.
I agree.
I'm happy to help. I don't know where to go from beyond that.
So why don't I get together with Dan over the next week or so, get something figured out, and then we'll come back with a proposal, or I'll be in touch with you, Zach, over what we can do. I think it's a great idea. I want people to see what we're doing. I want
Yeah.
people to hear what's going on. So I think it's a great idea, and let's move forward with it.
I don't see it as a policy problem. I just think we need to tweak it.
Yeah. I mean, we're operating very much in the public. Scott's doing a great job producing the recaps. Dan's doing a great job producing the video recaps. It's just a matter of how do we
Push it
get
to
that
people.
in front of
The
people.
minutes are available online.
The minutes are, right, exactly. And they're detailed. They're not, what they might have been in the past. I feel like we're doing all the right things. It's just a matter of how do we,
I mean, we can package a lot into that and consider it our newsletter. I mean, the minutes, we can package a lot in there and get the information
Yeah.
out.
and then people can read it or not. And it'll be right there. Yeah.
But at least it's out there and they signed up for it, they'll receive it.
Yep, I like it.
All right, that was my thing. Public comments.
Yes, I just like to comment on the last subject because J Street Market and Catherine Monte-Alto is a community connection center of our Main Street. And we have one of the posts inside that they post a lot of newsletters. And I think that would be a very appropriate place to post that because people come together and we're always discussing issues of the town, and having a list of content that would be helpful. So that's another avenue of physically putting something out where people don't want to or haven't gone online to keep their updates, but a physical, visible representation of what's going on would be great. A good location. Thank you.
I will do that on my morning visit to get coffee.
Yeah.
I was going to say we could capitalize on something there.
Thanks, Frank. Do we have, my eyes are no longer capable of reading that sidebar. Do we have anybody online who?
Looks like there's
wants to
one.
comment?
Just,
Highways on.
Highway.
Joe earlier.
All right, great. Well, with that,
Here he comes.
I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to enter non-public in accordance to RSA 91-A:3, number 2, letters A and
See.
C.
I'll second.
Neil, your vote.
Aye.
Mary Ann.
Aye.
Zach, aye. Ted.
Aye.
Bill. Aye. Welcome.
So good of you to join us.
Non-public.